Good morning, Carol Johnson.
Good morning, Bob Ponce.
All right, we are here for our weekly COVID update, and this week we're here to talk about the Johnson and Johnson vaccine, what you need to know about
Oh, yeah. Well, they were distant cousins of mine until now.
it. All right, don't write them off just yet. So let's talk about what happened. They put a pause on distributing the Johnson and Johnson vaccine when they found some incidents. A total of 6 people who had blood clots that developed, and they were and out of the 6 people, one person died. So let's talk about exactly what happened. So all of the people who had the blood clots were women aged 18 to 48, and they all developed within 6 to 13 days, with a median of 9 days after they got vaccinated. One of them died. So they paused it, and the reason they paused it was because what they found with these blood clots is that they wanted to get information out to doctors and medical providers as far as how to handle this, because there's something about the way these blood clots develop, that if people used what they used as standard treatment, which I believe was the issue they were having was with heparin, that using heparin could actually, instead of solving the problem, could actually make it worse. And so they wanted to take a pause so that they could get information out, in order that doctors would be able to know that if they saw the symptoms, they would know how to treat it. Now, we also want to put it in perspective that the odds of getting this are very, very low. And so to put it in perspective, they've done 6.85 million doses of the Johnson and Johnson. And they've only had six, 6 people who've had it. So the odds of getting the blood clots are literally less than 1 in 1 million, which is, your odds of getting hit by lightning are 1 in 500,000. So you're twice as likely to get hit by lightning as to have these blood clots. However, it's really important that you know and the doctors know exactly what it is, and so they wanted to get this information out. Now, here's what you need to know symptom wise. So anybody who got the Johnson and Johnson vaccine, if you develop severe headache, abdominal pain, leg pain, or shortness of breath within 3 weeks after the vaccination, you should contact your doctor or seek medical care. This information we got directly from the CDC, so this is real news. uh, and that's, so that's the long and short of it. So um, for most people, it's probably not likely to be an issue. So if you got the Johnson and Johnson vaccine, which if you live in Harlem is rare because we haven't had much of it around.
Never had much vaccines, period. Right?
Exactly. But it's really, again, not something that you should be overly concerned with. But if you have a concern, those are the symptoms you should watch. And again, for whatever reason, these six were all within the same demographic, which is women aged 18 to 48. And it generally happened about 9 days after the vaccination. So we also always recommend that everybody just monitor their health for at least, 10 days to 2 weeks after being vaccinated. Usually, with most things, there's something that happens right away, but the bottom line is your body is processing this vaccine for at least 10 days to 2 weeks before you have full efficacy, as they call it. So, just if you had the vaccine, don't go running around town maskless, 15 minutes after you got the shot. You want to continue to practice protocols. You want to continue to get good night's sleep, drink lots of water, get the proper nutrition, and help your body to adjust to it in a natural way.
Yeah, and you still have to socially distance and you still must wear your masks.
Hmm.
And if you're going to be around people, um, this is a crucial time to really, really pay attention. If you're going to be around people, those people need to be tested. They need to be tested close to your event, and
Hmm.
they need to have those results
Hmm.
before you start getting, meeting with people, because we have so many cases so far where people have gotten double vaccinated
Hmm.
and still got COVID. So that just goes to show that in a lot of these cases, people figure that, well, I'm fully vaccinated now, so it doesn't matter who I go around, but that's just not true. I can relax the protocols. That's just not true. You still have to be very cautious. You can live your life, but you still have to be very, very cautious and keep those groups to a minimum.
Hmm. Now, there's also, I felt that there was something very, very good about this particular situation, which is um, that out of only 6 people who got this out of almost 7 million, they were able to detect the trend and respond to it. And the reason why is that they have a system called um, VAERS. VAERS is the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System. And it's important for us to know what that is because it's also something that we can report to it too. So if you have a negative reaction to or some sort of problem coming out of a vaccine, it's not just doctors. Anybody can report a vaccine problem to VAERS. So if you see on the screen, we have the link up that if you know someone who's had or are somebody, if you're a parent and a child had it, or if you had a problem yourself, anybody can report to VAERS a vaccination problem. It's also important to know if you're reporting, making sure you're reporting something that actually occurred because reporting false information to VAERS is a federal crime and punishable by federal standards. So it's important to report real information, but any of us can do it. And I think it's important for us this information to be in our community because sometimes we have a tendency to not report things when they're wrong when we actually should. I think Zora Neale Hurston once said, you got to report your pain, or else they'll they'll kill you and blame it on yourself, or something like that. So just spread that information out as well. That if you know anyone who had a problem, who had an adverse reaction, um, to report these things so that we can spot trends early. And if they're spotting trends as early as 6 people out of 7 million, that means they're really watching these things very, very closely. And so that means if it's happening in our community and we report it, we are more likely to be able to react to it. And this is important because we know that there's always been a hesitancy about what are these vaccines doing? Are they safe for us? Are they safe for our community? Are we being targeted? And we think these are legitimate questions and we want to always get legitimate answers. But now that we've seen how this system works and knowing how it works, we want to make sure that we respond to it and get information out there so that if there's something happening in our community and we're reporting this, there's an opportunity to respond to these things and mobilize around it just like they mobilized around this blood clot issue.
Yeah, and remember it's a federal offense, so don't start making things up.
Right,
and
right.
reporting things, because you may not want it, or, you're
Right,
one of the
right,
naysayers where vaccines are concerned. It is a
right,
federal offense. So,
right,
do that at your own risk.
right.
But it is very important that you do pay attention,
Mm-hmm.
and if any of those symptoms,
Mm-hmm.
crop up, make sure you call is best to get information,
Mm-hmm.
and let them direct you on what you should do at that point.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they had also, I was reading an article where they were associating it with birth control. They were looking at birth control pills. They were saying it was
Mm-hmm.
hormonal, but they said one thing that they were looking at was birth control pills. And something that would make that in itself would make a lot of sense, because birth control pills cause blood clots.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I remember that was one of the major things why so many of those medications had to be taken off the market. And that's back in the 70s and the 80s and 90s, when they were talking about blood clots forming from different forms of birth control.
Mm-hmm.
So, the good thing is that they're on it 24/7,
Mm-hmm.
the same way this vaccine was not created overnight, and they were on it 24/7. Then they're on it 24/7 now to
Mm-hmm.
rectify whatever's going on. So, you know, you can rest in that.
Right. I was also last night listening on Clubhouse in a room full of doctors, many of them black doctors, and they were talking about this particular issue. They were sharing information. Some of the doctors were frustrated because they felt like they got caught blindsided about it, and they felt like they didn't have enough information beforehand. But I also, in reading the CDC response, understand that they wanted to act quickly and stop it and give the doctors a chance to get the information out specifically about the clotting. The other thing that I heard these doctors talk about is the issue about pregnant women taking the vaccine, and they've done some studies to where they showed that pregnant women not only create the antibodies, but they actually pass the antibodies on to the child. So that's actually a good thing. Is that pregnant women taking the vaccine are developing the antibodies and passing it through. So just again sharing these information. As you know, with us, we vet our information carefully, and we're also careful to always say we're not giving anybody medical advice about what to do or not do. This is we are an informational resource. We're not doctors. We try to pay close attention to the sources that we use. As I said, the sources that I am sharing the information on this came directly from the CDC. So we don't go from, I feel like our information is better than what I've been hearing in some of the mass media, who just kind of gave the hysteria about it, but really didn't give the numbers behind it. And as I said, it's still a very, very small group of people who've actually had this problem. But the fact that they're spotting it early, you know, because, the more you do, the more a trend can develop. So if they spot the trend early and can recognize who is likely to have this problem and what the symptoms are, and get that information out accordingly, I think that that's actually a good thing.
Yeah, and it lends to remember that every medication, there's a problem with every medication out there that's created.
Hmm.
Someone has problems with medications. Someone has died from medications. So when you look at these odds, it's like really a drop in the bucket.
Hmm.
High pressure, high blood pressure, high cholesterol medications that people are taking. Many, many people have died
Hmm.
from these medications, or had adverse reactions to the medications that may work for you, may work for me, but it didn't work for someone else. So always remember that that's just something that happens um, with medicine, But again, we don't come to scare you, we come to prepare you.
Yep.
So just, live your life,
Hmm.
and just pay attention.
Yep. And we got some good news for restaurant workers in Harlem. Today and tomorrow, they have a vaccination bus specifically for restaurant workers. This has been a group of people who are on the front lines, but who have not necessarily had access to the vaccine, and so they've made special access for them. The bus is today and tomorrow at 109 Malcolm X Boulevard, which is between 115 and 116th Street, right in front of the restaurant Field Trip. If you see the web address on the screen, that is where you can actually go to book an appointment. So please share this information with anybody you know who is a restaurant worker. They've got an opportunity to book it today and tomorrow. I believe they're only there till about 1:45 or 2 o'clock. So and you want to go to that link and register as soon as possible so you can get that vaccine. And yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be a rollout, so that's pretty good. I believe this week, 23 buses are supposed to be rolling out across the city. The first one, I believe, is in Brooklyn over the
Correct.
weekend, but they're pushing more and more. So the opportunity for other people will open up pretty soon. Outside of the right now is the restaurant workers, But when you think about it, you know, even with field trip, people had to fire staff. They just couldn't manage, And so this is going to get these people back to work. And you figure these restaurants, so many of them have closed.
Yep.
And we know so many people have been, ordering food, um, online. And I mean, the staffs are like stretched to the bare minimum,
Mm-hmm.
So we need to get them. People want to go back to work, but we start to forget about other people, those restaurant workers. In a lot of cases, they don't make a lot of money. In a lot of cases, they don't have health care. You have people who are immigrant, hardworking people who have been laid off that need to get the vaccine or want to get the vaccine, or even in some cases, the bosses say you have to take it.
Mm-hmm.
That's still up for debate. But still, they got to get back to work. And I know a lot of people have been ordering online, but you have restaurants that had an average of 12, 15 workers, and now they're working with 3 and 4 people cooking,
Mm-hmm.
trying to get those meals out, And I'm sure they're getting out probably more meals than they were when they were open.
Mm-hmm.
So these people need to get back to work as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And also, there's some information that if people want to know more going forward about where the vaccination bus will be after today and tomorrow, they can go to this website where they can sign up for the restaurant workers vaccination newsletter, and that newsletter online will send you an email giving you up to date information about where the restaurant workers bus is going to be. I've also shared that information in the comments on Facebook and YouTube, so you can check the comments, and from the comments, you can probably link to it directly and go and sign up for that.
Yeah, we're moving along. It's moving along. It'll be a slow process,
Hmm.
but it's moving. And no tirades from me this morning. We already know we're still in the same place.
Right, right. So that was the main topic we wanted to talk about. We wanted to get people the real information on the Johnson and Johnson because there's a lot of scare information, and again, we give you the real deal. Keep it 100. This is what it is. It was 6 people, women age 18 to 40, not 48, and so That's the demographic that should be most concerned. But we are also given the symptoms. I'm going to throw that up once again so people know. And please share this information if you know people who are asking questions about it and saying, "Oh, I don't want to get that vaccine now." It's still a good vaccine to get. It still will cover 99.9% of everybody who takes this is not even going to have these problems. But if you do have the problems, these are the symptoms you need to look for: severe headache, abdominal pain, leg pain, or shortness of breath. And again, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have the clot. Some of these symptoms are typical of the symptoms people are having just in terms of side effects of the vaccine. But
Right.
you want to pay attention to these things. And if it, again, they said severe. So if you're having severe headache, if you're having severe pains, and this is, they're saying within 3 weeks after vaccination, but typically, again, what they've seen with these six place cases, it was between 6 and 13 days. So just pay attention, take care of yourself, monitor yourself, and don't be afraid to get help if you need help. But more than likely, you should not have a problem.
Right. And if you're taking medication, check with your doctor. Do a telehealth call. If you can't get an in-house appointment, check with your
Hmm.
doctor. And if that's the vaccine that you want to take,
Hmm.
ask him in terms of the medications that you're taking. Do they think that there may be some interaction? But always check with a medical professional,
Hmm.
especially if you're blessed enough to have a PCP. This is the best time I've ever seen where it is so vitally important that you develop a real major relationship with your PCPs. For
Hmm.
the most part, people go in, they see their doctors, and they get the checkup, they get the results, and they're out. Sit down, talk to them, form a real relationship with them, because that's going to be your best defense in the event that anything happens. Not just this, but we're looking at something that has the propensity to come back again.
Hmm.
We don't know when this one is going to go away. But coronavirus is like a gift that keeps giving, and it's not a gift that keeps giving nicely. So there's this can come back again. This is the time to like really, really get those relationships with those medical professionals so you feel comfortable going to them to seek information.
And it's also a time to pay attention to your own habits and practices, and from a health perspective, one of the things we tell everybody, and you should tell everybody if they haven't gotten vaccinated, make sure they get a good night's sleep before they get vaccinated, because they've shown the data that your antibody level is 30% higher if you got a good night's sleep before you get vaccinated. So it's the little things about taking care of yourself. We found out early on in this that the people who were most likely to have bad results with this were the people who had what the medical people like to call comorbidities, which in plain language is all the problems that from um, being overweight, having diabetes, having high blood pressure. All these things contribute badly toward your health outcomes. And it's the same way whether you get vaccinated or not. Why? Because the vaccination doesn't kill the virus. Your body still has to kill it with the antibodies. The vaccination, the only thing it does is it alerts your body that this is what it's looking for, so that your body can develop the antibodies in advance so that you have protection. But if your body is not working properly, you know, and it's not developing the antibodies like it should, it's not going to help you. And they may find out that in those situations where people are still getting it after the vaccine, when they finally sit down and do the research, they will probably find that there are other issues that those people are having that's causing their body to not react as quickly as effectively as it should. So we're telling you in advance, stop playing around with this thing. Get your good night's sleep. Start eating better. Get off of that sugar and high fructose corn syrup. You know, do the things you need to help your health be better, help your body respond, and you will have a much better outcomes out of this. Whether regardless of taking the vaccine, you need to be more healthy, and that's the thing that COVID taught us for our community. We already knew it, but you know, all these were conditions that if you kept them going, it might kill you over a matter of years. And then COVID came in, and those same conditions killed people in a matter of weeks. So, it's time to step up your game on your health and be healthy. And we need this to happen on a community-wide basis because we've already seen that the resources are not coming our way as quickly as they go other places. So your best defense against that is to be healthy in the first place, and so you don't put yourself in a position where those not having those resources is going to affect you badly.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Drink plenty of water. And I
Hmm.
don't know. People will be saying, "Oh, I don't like water." I love water. I don't think anything beats water. You know,
Hmm.
especially that distilled water, the purified water. I
Hmm.
just got like it just gave me life getting away from the spring water, and
Yep.
certainly tap water. I stopped drinking tap water. I don't even know
Yeah.
how long ago. But drink plenty of water. Stay hydrated.
Hmm. Yep.
Get those teas, different herbal teas and stuff in your
Hmm.
system. Like we were saying earlier on during the
Hmm.
pandemic, get creative.
Hmm.
With
Yep.
smoothies and different things that you can get these vitamins and stuff into your system and enjoy it. It's one thing to just pop a vitamin, but I mean, if I could get a nice um, low low glucose smoothie and sit back and enjoy it and do some work or watch TV, listen to some music. It's just so much more enjoyable than just popping pills. And then it becomes a part of your life plan, as opposed to drinking a lot of soda and a lot of processed juice. They got blenders and what they call these bullets. That's pretty inexpensive.
Hmm.
And have some fun. Get the kids into it too. Experiment with different berries that you never used before
Hmm.
and add it
Yeah.
to your diet.
Yeah. And the weather is getting warm. Get out there and get in the sun. Get that vitamin D directly from the sun. Um, and they still don't talk enough about the connection between vitamin D and having a healthy outcome from COVID. But the numbers are there. They've been documented. So you should be taking vitamin D supplements, especially during the cold weather. Now that we're going in the warm weather, you can get the vitamin D directly from the sun, which is the best place to get it. But if you're not getting the sun, take those vitamin D supplements. Build up your reserve. Build up your immunity system. Take zinc. Take vitamin C. All these things. This is the science behind vitamin C and vitamin D was they found this out from the 30s, almost 100 years ago, 90 years ago. They knew about vitamin D. They've already seen what's happened during prior pandemics. So don't get it twisted. All this new science is nice, but it doesn't mean the old stuff doesn't work. And so use the old stuff, use everything that's there to help protect yourself. It's not an either or, it's all of these things. And don't just rely on the vaccine if you're not doing the other things for your body to help your body work properly. You're not setting yourself up for your best outcome.
Yeah, because people still trying to convince themselves that it's a cure no matter what. That
Hmm.
they can still, live live, around hazardous situations, and we gotta wake up. We gotta stay alert. Stay
Yep.
alert. It's just not. The numbers are still rising. It's not like it was before, but the
Mm-hmm.
numbers are still rising, and we notice that happens after every holiday. So now we're looking
Mm-hmm.
at after Easter numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Every time, every single time. So what's the next one? Memorial Day.
Yep.
That's going to be a weekend. And
Mm-hmm.
within that 2 week period afterwards, there's still numbers rising.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just not out of the woods. We're really not out of the woods.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's just, like we say, stay vigilant. Just stay vigilant.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get crazy, but just stay vigilant and just pay attention. If you know Aunt Jane's going to have 45 people in her backyard, you might want to think that you shouldn't be one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I think that's all we have to say today. Um Stay safe, and we'll be back next week. We'll talk more about what's going on. Um they've got another variant showing up in California. They're calling it a double mutant variant with features of the California variant plus a mutation found in Brazil and South Africa has been detected in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm glad that's on the other side of the country, but you know, it's just we talk about these things, we share the information because it's important to understand that um, we're still learning every day about this particular virus and all its different variants out of it. And so, the best way to protect yourself is to build up your own body's immune system along with the vaccine. The vaccines have shown to be effective. And I always look at these things closely. I'm not going to say skepticism, but I wanted to see these things prove themselves. And now they've done millions of doses, and they're monitoring it closely in terms of outcomes so that they can respond to it if they see trends. And so that's what we saw with this Johnson and Johnson thing. 6 people had problems, one of them died. 6 out of 7, almost 7 million. So the numbers are good, but the fact that they were able to spot a trend with 6 people out of 7 million, they're on their game watching this
Yeah,
thing, and we want to be on our game watching it as well.
right,
So we'll continue to keep our eye on the information, share it for you as we get it. We vet our sources, we question it. You know, no matter who it comes from, we're going to look at it and look at what is their methodology behind it. What are other doctors saying about it? We listen to everybody, and share that information so that you have the best information available to you to make your best decisions. So that's it. I'm tired
right.
of talking.
So in the meanwhile, continue to do what we've been doing. Wear the mask,
Yep.
tightly fitted over your nose and your mouth. Continue to wash your hands frequently, and continue to wipe down frequently touch surfaces,
Yep.
especially if there's a lot of people living in a household.
Right.
So stay safe,
Yep.
you
And
know.
coming up, we are going to start looking at more issues about people who are recovering from COVID. And we're also going to be talking about, we know that as the weather gets warm and more people get vaccinated, people are going to be thinking about traveling more. We're going to try to talk about what you need to know before you start making moves around and how to make sure that you are most protected. So keep coming. We're here every Wednesday morning at 9:30 on Facebook and YouTube, and you can always check these out. You can share this information, and the information stays there so that you can share it to friends and loved ones. So
Okay, so
have a
that's
great
about it.
day.
Have a great day and a wonderful week, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Yep.